Agni and Ayurveda and how to identify weak digestive system symptoms. My name is Claire and this is Clareminded. So in this video, what I'm going to go over, I'm first going to tell you what Agni in Ayurveda is, what it stands for, what it means, and then I'm going to tell you the 4 different types of Agni that are in Ayurveda. I'll give you the 3 factors that kind of affect all 4 of these different types of Agni, and then I'm going to tell you the weak digestive system symptoms that you could be experiencing, and then I'll tell you how you can balance and increase that Agni to improve your overall Ayurvedic dosha, balance you out in harmony. So Agni in Ayurveda literally stands for your digestive fire. So it regulates all of your digestive and metabolic processes in all human beings. So it's ruled by the pitta dosha because it has that fire element. So it kind of runs through your whole digestive system. This is the fire, this is the flame to help keep everything functioning smoothly throughout your body type. And that's kind of why pittas usually have a stronger digestive system, is because the Agni is ruled by the pitta dosha. So it's moving much more efficiently because it's in its natural home with pitta. So Agni in Ayurveda stands for your digestive fire. So the 4 types of Agni that we have in Ayurveda are the Samagni, Tikshnagni, Mandagni, and Vishmagni. So the first type of Agni in Ayurveda is the Samagni. And the Samagni is your ideal balanced state. So this is balanced Agni. This is when you're moving at efficiency, everything is going, regulating exactly as it should. So Samagni is your ideal state of Agni. Tikshnagni is high Agni. So this is when your digestive fire is moving too efficiently. So that's a really high increase in the pitta dosha because it's moving too fast, it's moving too efficiently. This can lead to burnout almost. So your Agni is too high at this point. So if you have Tikshna Agni right now, it'd be an increase in your appetite and in your diet. It would just be burning really, really efficiently. Your weight would stay about steady or low, but your eliminations would also spike up. And if you have Tikshna Agni now, because it's related with the pitta dosha, and if you're experiencing too much, meaning your digestive system is going too high, then this could lead to ama, which are ultimately toxins in your body. So the 3rd type of Agni is Mandagni, and Mandagni is related to the kapha dosha. So this is when your digestive fire is too weak. It means it's moving too slow, not efficiently at all. It's getting a bit sluggish and backed up in your system. So when you have Mandagni, this again means your digestive is moving too slow. Your appetite also decreases, but your weight may be increasing. So this can lead to an imbalance and ultimately more ama and toxins in the body if you have Mandagni, which is low Agni. The last type of Agni in Ayurveda is the Vishmagni, and the Vishmagni is again related to the vata dosha. So this means that it's super irregular and imbalanced. It's kind of just like all over the place. So your appetite, you could be hungry in the morning and then not at night. The next day you're starving in the morning and starving in the afternoon, then not the next day, and then you're just like not hungry in the next day. So it's super irregular. Your patterns are kind of all over the place. So your appetite is irregular, your digestion is irregular, meaning sometimes it can move smoothly and other times it can be like too much and get really blocked up, some gas, constipation. This can ultimately lead to more imbalances, so more ama, more toxins if you have Vishma Agni, which is variable Agni. So your digestive system and digestive tract are all over the place. Super variable, no stable parts there in the Vishma Agni. So again, the 4 different types of Agni in Ayurveda are the Samagni, Tikshna Agni, Mandagni, and Vishma Agni. And then there are 3 different factors that kind of affect the Agni in our digestive system, and that is the fuel, the spark, and the wind. And these fuel, spark, and wind, they relate to kapha, pitta, and vata. So the fuel relating to kapha. So this is the food, the fuel that we consume. So it's the food. So if we eat too much of food, then it's gonna get like clogged up. There's gonna be too much, and it's gonna dampen that digestive fire if we're overeating like that. That's related to the kapha dosha. It means it's like sluggish. You're having too much excess, too much earth. So that might dampen the digestive fire, and ultimately it could put it out. And then you have the spark that affects the Agni, and this is the inherent fire of the digestive system. So it's related to the pitta dosha. So we have that spark. And if you have too big of a spark, you can kind of like blow it out, but too little of a spark and you're not going to have enough fire to keep the digestive system moving. So that's related to the pitta dosha. So you want to have a nice balanced Samagni type of spark in there to have enough to keep the digestive system moving, but not too much where it kind of like just pushes it out and like runs through your system too quick, because that could lead to Tikshna Agni, which is excessive Agni. And then the last thing that affects the Agni in Ayurveda is the wind. And the wind, again, is related to the vata dosha, vata air movement. It's moving, so just like the wind. And when you think about, say, a campfire, and you have the fuel, you have a nice little spark in there, but you have this wind that comes in too hard, too fast, it's gonna blow the fire right out. But if you don't have enough wind, then the fire is just going to kind of go out on itself because there's not enough wind to kind of help roar it up, right? So the same thing with your digestive system. If you have the right amount of food and you have the spark, but you don't have enough wind to kind of help run it through the system, then it's not going to go anywhere, and this could lead to an imbalance. So you need to have enough wind to move it through your system, but not too much where it would just kind of brush it out and create too much air in the body, and that could lead to some bloating or constipation there. So the three factors that affect the Agni are the fuel, the spark, and the wind. And ultimately you want all three of these things balanced to lead to the Samagni, which is your ideal state of digestive system Agni in Ayurveda. So now I'm going to tell you a couple symptoms that you can look for to identify if you have a weak digestive system symptom. So some things that could be identified if you have a weak digestive system would be things like clogged channels in your body, mental fatigue, if you have acid reflux or heartburn in the chest. These are imbalanced signs that your Agni isn't moving efficiently. If you're dealing with any lethargy or dull mind, dull inspiration, you don't really have a lot of movement going on, this can mean an imbalance in the Agni, in your digestive fire. If you're dealing with any indigestion, so any constipation, gas, bloating, those are all signs of an imbalance in your Agni. However, we can rectify these weak digestive system symptoms by bringing your Agni back into balance. So now I'm going to give you a couple tips that you can help use to balance out your Agni. So one of the easiest things to do to balance out your Agni is to drink warm tea throughout the whole day. Ginger is best because it really aids in digestion, but something warm. So when you think that you're kind of out of balance, you want to drink something warm because the cold will shock the system almost too much. The cold drinks and cold foods, that dampens that digestive fire. So you want to drink something warm. It doesn't have to be too hot, but just something warm, and that'll kind of help stimulate your digestive system. So drinking warm ginger tea throughout the day really helps aid that digestive fire. Another thing you can do to aid in the digestive system and that Agni is to wait 3 hours in between each meals. So you have to think, like, if you're snacking throughout the whole day, then your digestive system and that Agni is working throughout the whole day, and it doesn't really have time to fully digest everything in its order. So if you have a bunch of nuts and seeds in the morning, and then an hour later you have a piece of fruit, well, that fruit is going to digest a lot quicker than those nuts and seeds, because when you put that fruit on top of the nuts, it's going to choose to digest the fruit first because it's easier to digest, and that could mean some like rotting of the nuts and seeds because they haven't been fully digested yet. So eating like too often and not enough time in between those meals, that is going to again weaken that digestive system. So you want to eat 3 meals, maybe 4 if you're a vata, but like smaller meals, and you want to space them out so you have at least 3 hours in between each meal, and that's really going to help aid that Agni. Another thing that really helps increase your Agni and helps balance it out is just eating cooked foods. Raw foods are pretty hard to digest, especially if they're cold. They dampen that digestive fire. So you want to eat just warm cooked foods, and that's really going to help aid in that Agni and help move things smoothly. And you also want to chew all of your food until it's one consistency, whether that's 20 chews, 30, 40, maybe start counting at the beginning. But again, that's just kind of help easing to make it all one consistency before it moves, and it's easier to digest in your digestive system. I have a couple other tips about how you can consume your food of the Ayurvedic eating rules that you can check out here if you want to learn more about that. Otherwise, just chewing your food till consistency is really going to help aid that Agni. And it is very important to eat all of the 6 tastes in Ayurveda. If you want to learn more about those, check out this video over here. But the 3 tastes that favor the Agni, or digestive fire, are the tastes of pungent, sour, and salty. So if you're experiencing maybe too low of Agni, meaning you don't have enough, you want to focus on the pungent, sour, and salty taste, because that's going to kind of help stimulate that Agni and help build that fire back on up. So this video was about Agni and Ayurveda and how to identify weak digestive system symptoms in your body, and I gave you a couple tips on how to rectify any imbalances in the Agni that you're experiencing. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, give me a comment, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you next time.